Yes, Saad, switch on your video quickly. All right, so today we're going to start a new chapter, that is how do organisms reproduce. So this chapter revolves around the process, like what reproduction is, why is it necessary, okay, and we're going to study the reproduction in the case of plants. We're going to study the reproduction in the case of human beings, and also the reproduction in the lower organisms, that are the single-celled organisms. Okay, so first let's do the introductory part, wherein we talk about what is reproduction. So reproduction is a biological process by which new organisms, meaning offsprings, yeah, or the young ones, they are produced from the parent organism. And this process, now you would ask, like, why is it important? It is important for the continuation of species through the generation. Like all of the organisms that are there, their generation will continue only because of reproduction process. Clear, students? So this is what reproduction is, and this is what the importance of reproduction is. But the question comes along that you people have studied the chapter life process. Can you all tell me, is reproduction a life process or not?
Yeah.
Very good. It is not a life process. Why? Because we don't need reproduction to stay alive, but it is a part of life to continue the generation. So when we talk about life, this thing, reproduction being a life process, so no, reproduction is not a life process. Why? Because it is not necessary to stay alive, but it is a very important process, because if we want to continue the species population on Earth, then we've got to reproduce. So that is the main purpose of reproduction. Furthermore, the question comes along, how do organisms create an exact copy of themselves? See, for any things, like when you talk about any organism, XYZ, any organism, the main event that will take place during reproduction is basically the, first of all, the genetic material, that is the DNA, that DNA will duplicate. Like two copies of the DNA will made, so that these two copies can be distributed to the future offsprings. Okay, so the most important step during the reproduction is the copying or the replication or the duplication of DNA. So the DNA that is there, another copy of DNA is made so that this DNA now could be distributed. Clear? And this is something very important. You people must know the full form of DNA. So DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay. So this is the full form of DNA, and it is our genetic material. Every cell, every organ, every tissue in our body has DNA. And it is our genetic material. It makes us who we are, and we have received this genetic material from our parent generation. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
All right, very good. Now, the question comes along, where is DNA present? So I believe you people have studied this chapter, Fundamental Unit of Life in class 9, wherein you might have studied that inside the cell, there's a structure called as nucleus. Inside the nucleus, we have the genetic material called as the DNA. So if anyone would ask you, where is this DNA present? So it is present inside the nucleus of our cell. Clear? Now, during the process of reproduction, there are two important steps that happens. Okay, like on a very basic level, there are two very important steps that take place. The first one is DNA replication or DNA duplication, wherein the DNA molecule gets copied into two. Then the cell division takes place, either by mitosis or by meiosis. Now, our cell, it uses chemical reactions to build the copies of DNA. Right? One DNA gets copied and exact copies of the same DNA is formed. After the two copies of DNA are made, then each of these two copies, like for example, if this is the DNA, it made two copies. One copy, another copy. Now this one will be sent to offspring number 1 and this one will be sent to offspring number 2. So distribution of DNA will happen in that manner. So after making the two copies of DNA, the cell divides to give rise to two daughter cells. Now, in the reproduction, there is a very important term called as variation. What is variation? Variation means when new characters are introduced into the offspring. Something new, something different from the parents. Okay, something that is very unique. Like you people only, you can understand, like maybe some of you might resemble your mother. How many of you resemble your mother? None of you. So how many of you resemble your father?
Ma'am, I resemble both.
You resemble both.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes the case is that we have some features, some thing in us that is very different from either of our parents, right? These are the situation. Now, this new thing that we have got, this new thing that is present, we call it as variation. The introduction of a new character is what we call as variation. Is it clear to everyone? Yes. And it is the degree with which the offspring will differ from the parents. Like even though the offspring belongs to the parent only, but it's how it's different, right? It's how the offsprings, they're going to have their own set of characters and they're going to differ. Now the question comes along with studying about variation. What is so important about it? Why are we studying about it? So variations, they're very important for evolution so that the organism could evolve. Okay, variation, like when new characters are allowed or when new characters are present. So in that case, it allows better survival chances. Okay, it allows better adaptability. So it allows the population to adapt to the environment changes like temperature changes, water level fluctuation, sudden calamities, not just for us, for many other organisms. It's not just for humans, it's for organisms in general. Is it clear, students? And it ensures that some individuals will be better suited to survive and reproduce under new conditions. So that is the case. Now, the most important thing, the significance of reproduction. Now, reproduction is very important for the continuity of species, so that from one species to next species, organisms will continue to live, passing on of the genetic information, right? Meaning whatever is DNA containing, the information the DNA contains, that information will be sent from one generation to another generation via reproduction process. Then arising of the variation, then evolution, and lastly, because the number of organisms are being maintained by reproduction process, so maintaining the ecosystem balance is also a significance of reproduction. Clear, students? Okay. Now let us see some questions. First question is, what is the importance of DNA copying in reproduction? So how would you people answer it? DNA copying in reproduction, like how is that significant or
It
important?
is responsible, it is essential for the genetic inheritance from the parents.
Genetic inheritance, it is responsible for character transmission. For all of that, the DNA copying is very important. The second question is, why is variation beneficial to the species, but not necessarily to the individual? See, species means a group of organisms. Individual means single, like you, I, we are individuals. All together, we are one common species. So, the variations, they are beneficial to species. Why? Because it enhances the ability to the changing environmental conditions and increase their survival as a group in it. Clear, students? So remember that species is a group of closely related organisms. Like you all and I, we all belong to one common species. We all are humans, so we belong to a common species. Clear, students? Any doubts? Anything you all want to ask me?
No.
Okay. Now, the reproduction is of two types, depending upon the organism involved, depending upon the, you can say the processes. So reproduction is of two types, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is the one in which only one parent is involved. Only a single parent is involved. So we call it as uniparental. Okay. Asexual reproduction is uniparental. Whereas here no gametes are produced and no gametes are fused. None of that happens. Nothing related to gametes take place during asexual reproduction. On the other hand, in the case of sexual reproduction, both the male and the female parents are involved. So we call it as biparental. Clear? Bi means two, parental means parents. Now, in this case, the gametes are involved, male gametes, separately female gametes, they are produced, and then both the gametes, they fuse. Okay, they sort of they combine in order to form the next organism. Clear, students? This much is clear? Does anyone have any doubts? Anything you all want to ask me?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so now you people note down, then we'll talk about the first kind of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction. So take out a fresh page, put the heading, and take down these.
Ma'am, can you scroll down, please?
Yes, all of you are done, students. Shall I scroll down?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Done, ma'am.
Done, students.
Anu, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done.
Done, ma'am.
All of you are done, students?
Yes.
Any doubts? Anything you all want to ask me?
Mm.
10 ma'am.
Done.
All of you are done, students? Shall I scroll down?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done till here?
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm done. Done.
Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any doubts up until now?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, students. So we'll keep it till here only.